Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Riverside Review. Apologies that this is a very late podcast. I'm recording this on Tuesday, just ahead of the Boro Doncaster Cup game. So I do apologise that yes, we played Blackburn on Saturday and this was like 3 days ago. My deepest apologies for that. There's been a lot of stuff going on, a lot of great football over the past few days, and I just didn't get around to doing the podcast, but I thought I'd get the episode out tonight before, of course, we take on Doncaster in the Cup later today, so we don't have two episodes clashing with each other. So get this out now, and then of course we'll do a podcast after the result of the Doncaster game. Already got my predictions in. I'm going 4-2 to the Boro. So 4 to Boro, 2 to Doncaster. Hopefully we can redeem ourselves from that 4-0 defeat we took at home last season. So, to focus this episode, we are talking about the Blackburn game. Of course, not the result we wanted. Taking a loss over a team, no disrespect to Blackburn, that we should beat fairly easily. We did take one of their best players, Callum Britton. But yeah, all in all, Boro should beat a team like Blackburn, especially with the team we've got. Like, on paper, our team is incredible, one of the best in the league, probably like second behind West Ham. Other contenders maybe like Spyhampton and Millwall, maybe even Norwich as well, chuck them in the conversation. But yeah, Boro on paper have one of the strongest squads in the Championship this season, so to walk away with a 2-1 loss to Blackburn at Ewood, not the greatest for us. It's a bit of a shame, but we're not going to do a Bayer Leverkusen, are we? Realistically, we're not going to walk away with all games won or drawn, so it is what it is at the end of the day. This is something we can learn from. Obviously, we've got a lot of new players in. We're just looking to gel and kind of keep up the form, and hopefully, our results, even if we get 1-0 wins for like most of the season, that's still 3 points that I'd rather have over a 2-1 defeat, like we did on Saturday at Ewood Park. So to kind of talk a bit more about the game, Boro scored in the 12th minute, very similar to how Lincoln also scored in the 12th minute, so at least there's consistency there. If Doncaster score in the 12th or Boro score against Doncaster in the 12th minute, there's definitely something going on there, because that would be 3 games on the bounce that we scored in the 12th, or conceded in the 12th. But yeah, Sarmiento with the goal, beautifully set up by Morgan Whittaker. Was able to beat his defender and the keeper. Keeper came out to receive the ball, but Sarmiento, he's magic. He got to the ball first. It's very hot in here, so sorry if you can tell on camera. It is very, very warm in here. I think it's like 28 degrees or something according to my thermometer, so yeah, do apologise for that. Blackburn Rovers got a goal, 2 goals rather, in the second half. Boro managed to hold them off in the first half with a 1-0 lead early on, thanks to Jeremy Sarmiento. But Good Johnson got a goal in the 49th, and then Cantwell with the killer blow in the 55th. Now, I'm not going to say anything here because I don't want people to come over here and say you're 100% biased to Boro, you're a Boro fan, you're not going to say anything bad about your own club. I'm just going to say right now, Luke Ayling should not be starting. I mean, no disrespect to Bill. Bill is he's really good. He was obviously given captaincy, but I think if we go any further, we need to have either Malander and Alfie Jones, or Malander and Ashley Phillips as our centre-back duo. Yet again, nothing against Bill. I just don't think he can play a full 90. He's 33. He fights for the badge, which is what I love about him, but it's getting to the point now where I think, particularly this season, we're going to start to see him kind of slow down a little bit. Of course, Boro bought in another fullback. We bought in Sam Byram from Leeds. If you follow this channel, you know I hate Leeds. But with Byram at least, we're getting a really solid championship fullback who can play on either side, which is really good for us because other than Ayling, I don't think we've got anybody that can really slot in at that right back position to cover for Callum Britton. So that's good business. We obviously signed him on a free. He was a free agent. So yeah, even better business there. Boro really doing some good business, especially getting Berhalter for like 900k, which is an absolute bargain considering like with add-ons he only came to about 1.5 mil. But all in all, very class business from Boro. But yeah, I think going forward, the centre back duo needs to be Adilson Malanda and Alfie Jones, or Adilson Malanda and Ashley Phillips. Of course, Ashley Phillips came to us injured, so it's not the greatest thing. Probably won't see him tonight either. Hopefully we'll see Alfie Jones, maybe someone like George McCormick back in the 11. Kante might get a start. I hope Finn Cartwright gets a start as well. Would really like to see him play alongside somebody like Law McCabe, and maybe even Josh Dede, play him at right back. But all in all, I just think we need to solidify that defence. We looked a bit shaky in defence. We didn't look too compact. Everybody was spread out. Nobody knew what they were doing. And when it just got into the box, it was just scattered football. So we need some more consistency on that back line. But all in all, I thought we played well. As you can see here by the possession, I mean, we've seen this before. This is nothing new to us. We dominate the ball. We have the most shots. We have the most touches in the box. We almost have we actually have over double the touches in the opposition box. We have triple, almost quadruple the amount of shots they had, and we got 71 to their 29% of possession. So we had a majority of the ball. We had that creative spark, those opportunities. We were all like, if we get a proper number 9, we're going to start flowing these chances. And yet this game, we're flowing chances, and yet our number 9's not getting on the end of them. Like, I'm not throwing shade here at Will Lancashire. Will Lancashire is a terrific player. I think he can score at least, 15, 20 goals. I mean, he's already on what, 3 goals already? So, we've got a whole season ahead of us, and I just hope he doesn't get injured, because that is the Boro way. The Boro way is to come in, get injured, and just never be the same. It's just what we do with our forwards. But at the end of the day, Boro showed some real promise in the way they were playing. Yes, the result didn't go our way, but at the end of the day, to have a good game doesn't always necessarily mean that you win. You can lose a game and still have a good game. But yeah, all in all, dominated the ball, and we just couldn't execute it in the final third. But like I said, it's nothing new. We've seen this story before, and I just hope Blackburn was a one-off and we go back to being able to put the ball in the back of the net. One thing I do want to touch on is Todd Cantwell. Todd Cantwell scored in the 55th minute. Yeah, he got booked in the 76th minute, but I think he should have been sent off in the first half. Todd Cantwell was relentless. He was flying into tackles. He was just being an absolute prick on the pitch. Now, Blackburn fans are probably going to say, well, Boro weren't exactly the fairest either, but Cantwell should have been sent off. I mean, it's just, I can understand from a point of view, as a Boro fan, we've never had refereeing decisions really go our way. It's just one of them things you just accept as a Boro fan, that if one of our players takes a Cantona kick to his face in the penalty box, we're probably not going to get a penalty. Yeah, if Buddy Todd Cantwell gets his toe stood on in the penalty box and starts rolling around, we're probably going to concede it. Because that's just the way it goes for us. You know, Millwall like to say the most hated club in the league. Southampton are now saying it. But realistically, Boro versus referees is like a whole nother level. But yeah, in my opinion, Todd Cantwell should have been shown a red card. He should have been sent off in the first half, and it's just annoying that he was able to score the goal that allowed Blackburn to take 3 points. But at the end of the day, you know, it is what it is. There's a few yellows in here. Olofyan, McLaughlin, Morsey, Cantwell, and then Will Lancashire getting a booking right at the end. But yeah, all in all, you know, I don't think we played too bad. You know, the stats say we dominated the ball. But having a look at the ratings here, I don't want to always go off the ratings because the ratings aren't always completely accurate. Like giving Vitek a 5.8 I don't think is very fair. You know, he made some really good saves. He did show promise of being a decent keeper. Was replacing Solbrin as the number one the right idea? Some people think yes. You know, Solbrin was never really going to be our long-term number one. Other people think he should have been. I don't know. I'd have to see a game, you know, a very similar game at the same level played with either keeper. So, for Blackburn, you know, this game was played by Vitek. You know, our home game against Blackburn, put Solbrin in goal. Let's see how he does. I think if you put it any other way, you know, you have Vitek play against Blackburn and then Solbrin plays against Millwall. Different story there, because Millwall we know are very good. Blackburn are predicted to finish in the lower half of the table. I had them finishing last, which was probably a bit harsh for me, because I do think they've actually got a decent squad. They've made some decent signings, and they definitely show a lot of promise so far in their games. But yeah, all in all, we should be doing better against a side like Blackburn. Britton, I thought played well. Of course, it's his former club, but I think Britton had a solid game. Ayling, a lot of people said Ayling didn't have a great game. He didn't, but FootMob clearly thought he did with a rating of 7.6. I just think that duo at the back has to be Melander Jones or Melander Phillips. But still, Bill Ayling is a very integral part of the team. Melander, I'm not a fan of when he bursts into midfield. I know some people do like it. He is very good on the ball. But when we struggled so much in defence, especially against Blackburn, I would like to feel a bit more reassured that we're going to play a 4-back with 4 good defenders rather than play a 3-back with one of our best defenders tracking back from midfield, having made some Joel Matip level run and dribble the ball all the way up to the final third. Arfston, I've not seen much from Arfston at all. I know he's a really good player. I know he's got a lot of potential, a lot of promise to him. Does he work better as a wing back? I don't know. Is he probably better off pushing forward into the midfield? You know, playing off the left, usually where we've got Sarmiento. I don't know. You know, maybe we're gonna run some games with Byram at left back, then pushing Arfston further forward into that left mid, left wing role. Because when we bought him, we knew he could play down that left hand side. So yeah, I'm just still waiting to see on Max Arfston. Sarmiento got the goal. Finally is doing what he was brought in to do. Score goals, you know, create opportunities, show that pace. You know, he's a proper winger. A winger with history of taking teams into the playoffs, into the Premier League, getting them promoted. So hopefully he can do that with Boro this season. Aidan Morris with a 7.2. Didn't see much of Aidan play, but he is a very integral part of the team. A lot of people thought he should have got captaincy over Bill, me included. I did think Aidan showed a lot of promise, especially last season. You know, that dynamic duo with Hayden Hackney in the midfield, one of the best partnerships, if not the best partnership in the Championship, was Aidan Morris and Hayden Hackney. But yeah, I definitely think he's got leadership material, and he's clearly a fan favourite for that captaincy. And I think we're probably going to see him get the captain's armband a lot more regularly when obviously Luke Ayling steps aside and becomes more of a rotational bench player. So realistically, I think in the next few weeks, few months, we're going to see the transition of captaincy over to Aidan Morris. Miles Peart-Harris, I thought had a solid game. You know, he does really well in midfield, like in the central of midfield. He can play as a 6 or an 8, and you know, he can also play out wide. But I think all in all, he's probably better off in the midfield. He's a very technical lad. Absolute bargain that we got him, and I can't wait to see what he does. Berhalter, I'm a bit surprised Berhalter's not swapped with Peart-Harris, because if you ask me, I think Berhalter's more of your classic box-to-box midfielder. But I like Seb. I do. I like Seb. He does really well. He's got really good passing. You know, he's got really good awareness, and his corners and his free kicks, of course, is something that we've been lacking a lot recently. We've really lacked in kind of the department of like a proper set piece taker ever since really we let go of Sam Greenwood. He was the only other one that I can really think of recent times that was like kind of specialist in dead ball scenarios. So it's nice to have somebody who likes to take those set pieces for us and is very good at them as well. I've not seen him take a penalty yet, but of course we'll wait and see. Maybe we'll end up in a penalty shootout in the cup, but I hope not. Will Lancashire with a 6.8 wasn't his best game. Got a yellow card right at the end. You know, he's not going to score every game. You know, he's not going to score every game. It's just the facts. You know, yes, we brought him in. Yes, we paid a lot for him, but he's not going to score every game. But he's still a really integral part and somebody we can build the team around. Morgan Whittaker got the highest rating with an 8.3. Got an assist as well for Sarmiento's goal. Really creative. He can be good. He can be good when he needs to be. When he needs to be on form, he can be good. But as of late, he's not been tracking back. You know, he's been taking on opportunities that are just going to get blocked, or just taking on too many risks. You know, he's playing and acting like he doesn't want to be there. Like, there were rumours of him going to West Ham. I don't know if those rumours are still valid, you know, if they're still about, or if Morgan Whittaker is just, you know, going to be staying at Boro, going to be hanging up his hat at Boro. Sorry, that sounds like he's retiring, but like, whether he's staying at Boro or whether he's going to get a move elsewhere this season anyway, you know, maybe he'll leave in the January transfer window, or there'll be a late deadline day bid for Morgan Whittaker. But we are looking for winger options, so maybe Kim Helberg knows something we don't. In regards to Morgan Whittaker's situation, of course, we were looking at Mavididi from Leicester. A lot of people saying he's been really inconsistent as of late. But I mean, can you blame him? I mean, look how much Leicester have struggled. I mean, Jordan James has gone to Wolves, and he was one of their best players. So maybe just a change of scenery could actually be better for him. But we're also looking at Jack Clark from Ipswich, but since he just scored the other day with a last-minute brace, I don't see Ipswich letting him go. I think it will be a season-long loan for Jack Clark. Might chuck in an obligation to buy, but I think we've seen the last of Boro's money spend, especially on players, and we're going to start seeing the regular bringing in loan players. I know a lot of people are wishing for Shea Lacey. You know, Shea Lacey, one of Man United's youngsters, is somebody that Boro could definitely get the best out of. Very similar to Ben Doak. You know, he came over to us from Liverpool and he played one season for us and was like our standout player of that season. And then, of course, returned and he signed for Bournemouth, and I've not really heard much from him since. But definitely someone like Shea Lacey could actually be a really good addition to Boro. Coming on for Boro, you know, we've got the likes of Riley McGree, Carl Joseph, Leo Castledine and Neto Borges, all with a rough rating of around 6. Usually our impact subs, Carl Joseph is probably one of them. Somebody you expect to bring on and to kind of light that spark. Definitely something we could have done with, you know, even if it was just a late equaliser, or, you know, very similar to Wrexham where we just wait until the 91st minute to bag a goal. That would have been nice too, to walk away with at least a point at Ewood Park. But all in all, I didn't think we played too badly. We dropped points, very crucial points that it could be, but hey, at least we're not Spyhampton and we're starting on with -4 points. They're on -1 now because obviously they won the other day. But yeah, we're still middle of the table. I mean, we are Middlesbrough after all. I think we're currently sat 8th, so we're still in the playoffs. But this is game week 2. I mean, you can't set your sights on the title after game week 2. I mean, we made this mistake last season. You know, we went on a streak of like 14 straight wins, and then the end of the season, well, you know what happened, and we ended up ending up in 5th and been knocked out of the semis. And then we got in the semis through Spygate, into the finals, and then we lost the whole in the 91st minute. So anything can happen. Things can still change. Really looking forward to tonight. Boro versus Doncaster, 7:30 PM kickoff. Let's wait and see. What happens. Before we leave this episode, we're going to return to a tradition that I'm very sorry that hasn't been in a few of these last pods. We're going to chuck over to 38-0 and we're going to do the Boro edition. So let's go and do that now. I've already selected the formation. We are going with the 5-4-1. And of course, managers is staying on. So, first position is... first year, sorry. I thought I did it by position. I'm going to go for Mark Schwarzer in goal. I don't think there's much better for Boro other than possibly Victor Valdez, but I think he's a rating lower. I'm going to go for Gaston Ramirez at right mid. He can play centre mid and left mid as well. Juninho would be very helpful. Right. Do we go for Medita, Zenden or Southgate? Do we solidify a good centre back? I think we do. I think we're going to solidify a good centre back first. There are a few players I'm looking out for. Zieg definitely at left back would be very helpful. You know what? Just straight vibes. I'm going Cami. Chris Kamara in at CDM. Gotta have Cami in there. You know, just do, don't you? Internet's been a bit spotty today, so hopefully that's not the internet and that's actually the site. Ooh, Stu. Got to go Stuart Downing. Could have taken Robert Huth on the right back position, because Robert Huth and Christian Zieg would be a really nice partnership, especially if we could get Iogo at centre back. I've not had many recent players. You know, it is all time, but I've not had many recent players. I don't think I've had anybody like Hayden Hackney or anything. Go Paul Merson. Paul Merson in the midfield. I don't know why it's taking so long to spin the wheel. But yeah, it's taking a while to spin the wheel. Which is a bit of a shame. But it's really struggling. It's really struggling to spin the wheel. Like, we started off fine, but now it's just not working. This is also a reason why I stopped doing 38 now, is because it was just so unpredictable. You know, of whether the site would work. I did get a video taken down and had to re-record it because of an ad that popped up, and I wasn't able to edit it out because it just a whole nightmare to do. But when it works and it's great. I'm not signed in either, which probably doesn't help. Just checking my phone. We've got 4 positions left, and it's just taking so long, so long, just to spin the bloody wheel. Nobody much better, so we will go with Ugo. Come on. It's never been this slow. Never been this slow before. Like I said, started off fine. Started off working completely fine, and just now it's decided it wants to take forever. So while this does its thing and spins, supposedly, may as well talk about the cup game tonight. As I said, I've predicted 4-2. I think Boro will win 4-2. Lovely with Christian Zieg. Take him all day, every day. I think we'll concede early. It's just what we do, isn't it? We'll concede early. We'll go 2-1 up at half time. We'll concede just probably about 5 minutes after the second half and go to 2-2, and then we'll dig 2 more goals out of nowhere. Score sheet today, can't really predict without the lineup, you know, whether we're gonna go all in, or if we're gonna let's solidify Robert Huth. Whether we're going to go all in and play a really good side, or if we're going to play a mixed bag. But I'm going to go scorers are going to be... I'm going to go Finn Cartwright. Yeah, I'm going to go Finn Cartwright, Malander, and then a double for Lancashire. Espinosa rounds off the back line. So, through that very long and slow process, we've got Mark Viduka, Stuart Downing, Chris Kamara, Paul Merson, Gaston Ramirez, Christian Zieg, Bernardo Espinosa, Ugo Iogu, Gareth Southgate, Robert Huth, and Mark Schwarzer in the 4-5-1. Sorry, in the 5-4-1. Gonna spin for the manager, even that's being really slow. We land on Steve McLaren. We're gonna win the league. We're projected to finish 6th. No Janino, which was a bit of a surprise. Not again. Now it's not loading this. I might have to cut the 38-0 series for the time being. Internet around here has not been great as of late, so it might have to be, might have to wait until further down the line to see if things improve. So might have to take a break from 38-0. I will, of course, try to include it in as many as I can. It seems to be simulating the games quite easily. We seem to be losing a few of these games, which is not good. A few draws in there, beating Arsenal, lost to Man United. Wait, how did we lose to Man United? I swear it said 2-0 and Mark Viduka scored them both. Oh, it doesn't show the other team scoring. It just shows your team scores. Mark Viduka seems to be scoring a lot of goals. We finished second. We were predicted 6th and we finished second. 24 wins, 8 draws, 6 losses. Club record broken, 80 points, 2nd place. We got top 4, we got Middlesbrough record breaker, beat Middlesbrough's best ever Premier League points total of 55. Let's do European nights. Probably a bad idea because it's been so laggy, but we're gonna give it a go. Hopefully it's okay for us. This is probably the one time I hope to get knocked out early, just so it doesn't drag this video out to 45 minutes of just 30 minutes of stutter. And we're out. And we're out. Lille knocked us out in the playoffs. Anyway, this has been the Riverside review. I've been your host, Carl Owen, and I'll catch you in the next one. Up the Boro!